Okay, everyone, places and action.
You talking to me?
Here it looks like you boys have seen a lot of action.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why so serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello and welcome to the movie show here on the Cinema Plus podcast. I'm David Roberts and I'm joined by my friend and colleague Greg Fisher to talk about movies, films and all the latest news. How are you doing, Greg?
All right, thanks. How are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Cool.
So
Excited.
kick things off then?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's get tucked straight into it. We kick things off with What Have You Been Watching, where we talk about the films we've been exploring and analysing over the last week. So, Greg, what have you been watching?
This week I've been really into The Last Detail. It's from 1973, Jack Nicholson, Randy Quaid, Otis Young. It's basically of that era of Jack Nicholson's classic stage, just before he did Cuckoo's Nest, and he'd been doing the Rafelson films as well, Five Easy Pieces, etc. And he did this film with Hal Ashby. And it's basically about a couple of sailors that are the shore patrol, and they have to take another sailor who's been convicted of theft to the stockade, take him to military prison. But he's only a young guy, and he's played by Randy Quaid, and he's a bit wet behind the ears. And Jack Nicholson and Otis Young, the other two, they kind of take a shine to him. So they're on the way to taking him to prison. They show him a good time. They get drunk. They go to bars, they go to parties. They take him ice skating. They do all sorts of stuff. It's a really great character piece. And Nicholson's on fire in it, as usual. He's really on top of his game in this film. So, I've been getting back into that. And also wrote a piece about it. So you can check that out on moremovies.co.uk, a retro review there of The Last Detail. Other than that, I also rewatched Aliens the other day, Sigourney Weaver, James Cameron one. I just love that film. I just fancied it, when you see a couple of clips from it or something, you think, I'm going to watch Aliens tonight. It's about time. It's one of those films. So, yeah, I'm getting into that as well. What about you? What have you been watching?
Classic. Yeah, I was watching a film actually from 2015 called The Big Short.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Kind of went under my radar at the time and I hadn't had a chance to watch it. Starring Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, great cast. It's a drama about the financial crisis, of course, from 2007, 2008.
It's astonishing, isn't it? Some of the reveals.
Oh, yeah.
In it.
You kind of think, what was going on was, so horrific.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that it manages to make that into a really enjoyable film.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Gosling, I thought, was brilliant in it.
It was so well acted from all the actors.
Yeah.
And
Steve Carell as well, really cool.
Steve Carell, really different role for him.
Yeah, exactly. He was, he was funny in it, but not funny in a Steve Carell way. He was just like this sort of, really
a different thing. Yeah,
savvy guy that just, But it was Ryan Gosling was the one in that for me. Just that Jack to the toast team.
I loved all those kind of breaking the fourth wall moments turn into camera that they do in these kind of films.
That bit where he puts his hand up and then the camera comes around, he turns around and goes, he actually did that. He actually said that. Oh, I love that bit.
The dark edge kind of humour through it, so well. I mean, I love the little scene as well with the where they're pitching the idea with the box on the table to the guys.
Yeah.
And he's brought his Asian colleague with him.
Yeah.
And he's from China, and he's like, he doesn't even speak English and stuff. And he turns to the camera. I do speak English. He just likes to say that, And it's so funny. It's because it reminded me of like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff like that in that way, in terms of the fourth wall elements.
Yeah.
So really good, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for films about like finance or statistics and stuff. So things like Moneyball, Wolf of Wall Street, Margin Call from a few years ago. I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Wall Street, classic.
And I am a massive sucker for Christian Bale. I think he's a fantastic actor, and another great performance from him here. Yeah, so
I'm not crazy about him, but he'll do for me. He's all right. He's not high up on my list, but he's not low down either. So. But yeah, he played an interesting role in that. His character was quite strange, wasn't he? Playing the drums in the background there and all the writing on the wall and stuff. A bit of a mad genius, like. But isn't he the guy that figures it all out? He's the one that realizes what's been going on.
He realizes what's going on, and it's one of them. I think that's the kind of role he does really well. So I thought it was an interesting take, and yeah, really great film. Really recommended for anyone who hasn't seen it. Now we come to Movie of the Week, where we talk about a film that's come out recently, or perhaps just something that's been in the news. This week we've picked out Bill and Ted Face the Music, the sci-fi comedy. It's the third in the series of Bill and Ted, 30 years after the previous Bogus Journey from 1991. It came out about a month ago, and of course stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. Greg, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I remember the first two films first time round. I was about 11 years old when the first one came out. Really enjoyed that back then. That was a good sort of film for even though it was like 89, I think it was sort of quite a 90s film in a way, especially with it being followed up 2 years later with Bogus Journey. So they were, for me, Bill and Ted were like two staple characters of the 90s, like Beavis and Butthead or Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. Bill and Ted were like those sort of staple sort of dropout, stoner, loser kind of characters. Losers make good. So they've waited a long time to do this third part, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. But as with a lot of movies, when they wait a long time to do the third installment, I think it kind of suffers for it just because time's moved on, people have grown up, and I mean, obviously, Godfather 3 is the big one there. That I think they waited too long to do, but it's possibly a little bit of that with this one. But it wasn't a terrible film. It was a good laugh. No,
I agree. I think I enjoyed it. It's a fun film, and it's funny. Just and I enjoyed the originals, so I kind of enjoyed this coming off the back of it. I felt like maybe it's this gap in between them, and the comedy suited the time of that kind of late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure in this day and age, it's like it felt a bit dated a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think. For those of us who enjoyed the originals and are a little bit older, I think it works really well, and the performances are fine as we remember them. I do wonder if someone coming fresh to the franchise now, younger people might think this is a bit thin on the ground and not what they expect, and I do wonder if it works in that sense. But yeah, the plot's a bit thin, but it's funny, it's fun, and that's kind of what you expect from these films. It's not an in-depth cinematic piece, is it? It's a fun popcorn
it's
film.
Supposed to be full of Easter eggs, full of stuff for, like you said, for the people who like myself who watched them first time round. It's kind of a catch up really, and obviously they've done their best efforts to try and get a new generation involved, because you got the element of the daughters kind of being the heroes of it, so to speak, in a sense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wrote a review of it. You can see that as well on our website, moremovies.co.uk. So, if you wanted to find out what I thought about it in a more in-depth sense, that's up there. But in that, I just sort of said that I thought that the daughters were, the way that they obviously were directed to play the roles was in that sort of vernacular of Bill and Ted, oh, brah, everything's a bit, oh, yeah. And I thought it was a bit over-egged. I would have liked to have maybe seen them having the smarts of their princess mums, but with the sort of like, music coolness of their dads. I don't know. I found it a bit jarring that they were a little bit too sort of stony, really.
Yeah, it didn't really suit their their performances and look didn't suit what they were trying to do. It was kind of felt a bit forced, and I think that was a real shame. And as we were saying, it was a bit of a shame that we didn't see Death a bit more in the film.
Bill Sadler as Death
later on.
He was just so good in Bogus Journey. I mean, as soon as he turns up in this and he's like, the Wild Stallions.
It's brilliant.
It's like, oh, great, here he is. But yeah, he was underused, really, in it, underused.
It was a shame.
But it was still fun. It was good to see him, back in the saddle. Nice to see Alex Winter again, because obviously Keanu Reeves has never left the party. He's always been with us, still doing really well with films like John Wick and stuff. But poor old Alex Winter is kind of was left in the early 90s a little bit and hasn't done too much since. So it was nice that he was back in the saddle.
Yeah, it was nice to see him again. I thought with Keanu, it was strange. He he looks much better in something like John Wick with the beard and stuff than looking at him in this. It's like he looks a bit, for me, I was like, oh,
a bit pasty,
a bit weird.
I thought it was really nice though. I felt like he was pushing Alex Winter forward.
Yes.
To be the lead to the pair of them. And I thought that was really nice of him. You get this impression from Keanu Reeves. He's such a lovely guy. He's such a kind-hearted, nice person. It's almost like he's agreed to do the whole project just to give good old Alex Winter some work. He's obviously still maintained a good friendship with him. And I did get that impression that he was pushing him forward. Like, you take the main lines, you take the lead in this. And that was really nice to see.
Take it up and run with it. Yeah. It's, as you say, it's nothing spectacular, I don't think, but it's a fun film, and anyone who enjoyed the originals will enjoy it. So, if you're into Bill and Ted, go and watch it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, it's that time in the show where we go over to New York City to our favourite olive oil salesman, Don Corleone, who's got another review for us. Take it away, Don.
This is Don Corleone with another film review for the Cinema Plus podcast. This week's film is Albert Pitchfork's Rear Window. I've never heard of it. It's about a pervert, a man who likes to watch other women get undressed. There's this gorgeous blonde who lives across the courtyard from him. He can't take his eyes off her. He's watching her prance about with no clothes on. He gets so excited that he tries to pleasure himself with some special kind of stick. I don't know what these kids get up to these days. Anyway, I don't know why a man like this would want to spy on a young girl like that when he's got a gorgeous wife like this. I mean, makes no difference to me what a man does for a living, but his peeping Tom business it's not healthy for the family. And he's also seeing this old bag. She can't take her hands off him. Wait till she finds out what's been going on. So sooner or later, he realizes that the young blonde he's been spying on has got a husband. Some sort of jewel salesman. This guy must weigh at least 200 pounds. Not somebody you want to mess with. So he has to be very sneaky about taking his photographs, because if this guy finds out, well, he's probably going to make mincemeat of our friendly neighborhood pervert. Anyway, the wife finds out what he's been up to. She's not very happy at all. Then she realizes the woman he's been looking at is pretty gorgeous. She starts to get a little bit interested in it herself. This is a liberal society that they're living in here. So anyway, things carry on, and all three of them end up watching this broad. But then the husband finds out. Once he realizes they've been watching, well, we're in major trouble. So he goes round to see the pervert. He's gonna do him some serious damage. First he tries to strangle him to death, and when he puts up a bit of a fight, he roughs him up. And then he does the best thing you can do with a pervert like this. Drop him out of a second-story window. Boom. The guy's toast. I give this movie 1, 2, 3 Corleones out of a possible 5. And that's the end of my review. I'll see you next time.
Well, that was a different interpretation than I had of that. Very different, Don.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got a sort of unique view of these films, but certainly interesting. Okay, it's time for Red Pill, Blue Pill. Dave, are you ready?
I'm ready and waiting.
Okay, we're going to stick with the Hitchcock theme now. So get ready. Here comes your choices. Psycho or Psycho?
As in the original and the remake, I'm guessing.
There you go.
Well, of course, it's got to be the original.
Of course. Sabotage or Saboteur?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Sabotage.
Sabotage, nice. Rear Window or Vertigo?
Vertigo.
James Stewart or Cary Grant?
James Stewart. One of my favourites.
Janet Leigh or Grace Kelly?
Janet Leigh.
Foreign Correspondent or Strangers on a Train?
Strangers on a Train.
Rope or North by Northwest?
Oh, that's a really difficult one for me. I'm going to go Rope.
Nice. Black and white or colour?
Oh. Colour, actually. I'm going to go colour.
You like the colour Hitchcock films. Fair enough. Okay. Marnie or Mary?
Marnie.
Auteur or overrated?
Auteur.
I Confess or Spellbound?
Spellbound.
Toby Jones as Hitchcock in The Girl or Anthony Hopkins as Hitchcock in Hitchcock?
I'll go with Anthony Hopkins in Hitchcock.
Nice choice. Dial M for Murder or Rebecca?
Dial M for Murder.
The Man Who Knew Too Much 1935 or The Man Who Knew Too Much 1956?
I'd have to go for 1956 on that one.
Brilliant. And to finish us off for this week, a special one for you, Alfred Hitchcock Presents or The Twilight Zone?
I'm actually going to have to go with The Twilight Zone, but
of course,
they're both brilliant.
There we go. And that's it. That's all your pills this week.
Well, some difficult choices, really, because I'm such a fan of Hitchcock. It's hard to kind of.
That's why I picked him, because you love him so much. I thought, make you choose, get your medication.
Pick my poison. It's it's difficult sometimes. He is, to me, pretty much probably the greatest director to have walked the earth, really. So yeah, that was hard.
Okay, and now we're into that section of the show where we cover movie news, any sort of news that's been in the headlines this week in terms of anything to do with film industry or cinema. The first item on the list, Dave, I've got here is Rick Moranis. Now, good old Rick Moranis, everybody loves him. He was that
legend,
lovable nerd from Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, etc., etc. Some guy has been walking past him in the street and just randomly cold-cocked him. Bang! Give him a right punch. Poor Rick's ended up in hospital. What about that? What's going on there?
It's shocking, isn't it? Just the thought of some people to go and, randomly attacking people anyway. But, such a sweet and cool guy like Rick Moranis, like, he's just this tiny old man. Why would you do that? It is absolutely shocking.
Yeah, the guy's just, he's only a small guy. He's, like I said, he's a bit of a nerd, wears glasses, not the sort of person that, in any way is aggressive or thinks they're a tough guy, and would get into fights. Like someone like Alec Baldwin, he's always fighting with the paparazzi and punching people out. And if it happened to him, you'd think, well, you kind of ask for it in a way because he's quite violent himself. But Rick Moranis, come on.
Exactly. He never gets involved in anything like that, And as you say, such a kind of legend of cinema from the 80s, just why would it baffles me. It really, really does.
He did
baffle
that
me.
thing with Ryan Reynolds recently, brought him in for that little advert, Rick Moranis appreciation piece. I don't know if you've seen that. That was quite good fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. It
was nice to see him again, but there you go. Someone just cold cocking him in the street like that. Absolutely disgraceful. Hopefully they're going to catch up with him and shrink him to the size of a...
Hopefully so, especially as we know that they're going to do another sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, brilliant.
Soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out.
Excellent. What else have we got on the agenda this week then?
Well, the unfortunate news, which I was gutted to read the other day, is that James Bond's been put back again. It was due to come out next month, in cinemas all around the world, and now we've got to wait all the way till April. The producers have come out and said this is because of the pandemic, of course, and they want it to be seen by a worldwide theatrical audience. On a statement on their website, but it just means we've got to wait even longer for this film we've been so excited for.
Yeah, it's going to be nearly a year later than it was originally slated for.
Yeah,
but to be honest with you, I think it's probably the right choice. The pandemic's on the rise again. Lots more people. It's spreading again. Places are getting locked down here, left, right, and centre. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, so it hasn't gone away. I'd feel safer going to see it in April. Yes, it's a pain to have to wait to see it, but there's worse things. I think it's the right choice, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that the head says. Of course, this is the right choice logically and all that. It's just that the heart hurts that we got to wait even longer, which is a real shame.
Yeah, but our anticipation will be fever pitch by the time we get to see it.
It should be, yes. Let's hope it's still good.
Oh, yeah, it looks like it's going to be great. The other thing on the list as well, which is a bit of a callback to last week's show, when we in our movie rant section, we talked about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Well, in this week in the headlines, we've got the announcement that it's rumoured that Jamie Foxx will be returning to the character of Electro in the MCU and getting back involved in Spider-Man as that character. What do you think of that?
Just awful. What? Why? You know what I mean? It's like we've moved on from those crappy films and they're trying to make something new. Why drag Jamie Foxx kicking and screaming back into it? It just baffles me. It made me laugh because as soon as I read it, I thought we talked about this last week, and just
the irony of it. Because
the irony of it,
obviously,
it's
by
baffling.
the time we recorded that last week, we didn't know this. Then just a few days later, there it is in the news. It's almost like, what? Is that for real? But there we go. It looks like he's keen for it. Hopefully, if they're going to do a soft reboot on the character, then this time he'll get into the green and yellow spandex with the lightning mask. That would be pretty good fun.
Possibly. They might try and fix the mistakes they made last time.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens, I guess.
Well, there we go. There's our roundup of this week's movie news.
Okay, it's time again for the movie quiz where I'm going to grill Greg on some of his cinema knowledge to see how much he knows about films. This week, inspired by the news about James Bond, I thought I'd ask some James Bond themed questions.
Very interesting. Very good. Very good.
So basically, I've got a list of artists here who perform songs for James Bond films. I just want you to tell me which James Bond film they sang a song for.
Okay.
Are you ready, Greg?
I'm ready.
So join in at home as well. Let us know your scores in the comments afterwards. Just pause in between the questions and answers and no cheating. Okay. So let's get going. Number 1, Madonna.
Ooh. Pierce Brosnan film. Die Another Day.
Die Another Day, correct. 2002. Number 2, Aha.
That was The Living Daylights. I remember that.
That was. Yeah, it's from 1987. Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. I don't know why. For some reason, then I just thought of that bit from Mars Attacks where Danny DeVito comes in. Hey, you're Tom Jones, right? It ain't unusual. It's Thunderball is the answer.
It is, yes. Thunderball from 1965, correct. Okay, Sam Smith.
Ooh, was that? That's one of the Daniel Craig ones, obviously, because he's a modern artist. It wasn't Skyfall. What was before that? Was that Quantum of Solace?
No.
Oh.
It's actually after. So it's he sang Writings on the Wall, which is for Spectre. 2015.
There we go.
Question 5, Lulu.
Lulu. That's a tough one, man. It's got to be one of the Sean Connery ones. No, you have to tell me. I don't know.
It's actually The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974.
Oh, brilliant. Jeez, you got me there, buddy.
That is an obscure one.
That's a good one, That's a good one there. You got me with that.
Okay, question 6, Paul McCartney and Wings.
Oh, Live and Let Die. One of the best.
1973.
I love that, yeah.
It's definitely the best, absolutely. Okay, Adele.
Adele was Skyfall. I knew that one.
Skyfall 2012,
yeah,
correct?
I like that one. It was really good.
Duran Duran.
That was A View to a Kill, and funny story there, that the first ever record I bought, and it was a 7-inch single. I was only a kid when it came out, youngster, but I remember going to HMV or something, and that was the first ever record I bought with my own pocket money was Duran Duran, A View to a Kill. I think I bought it more because the cover for the little album, like the little sleeve it was in, it was the gun barrel, that he walks through at the start. And,
oh, right,
and the center of the record had Bond in it with the gun. And I just thought that was so cool. I had to get it. So.
Okay. Number 9, Carly Simon.
That is, the film, though, because the song is Nobody Does It Better. But
that's correct.
This film, was it For Your Eyes Only? No, it wasn't, because that was Spy Who Loved Me.
The Spy Who Loved Me, correct, 1977.
Yeah, because For Your Eyes Only, it was For Your Eyes Only, obviously. So.
Of course, yeah. And then the last one is Nancy Sinatra.
That's Diamonds Are... No, it's not. It's You Only Live Twice.
You Only Live Twice, 1967.
Yeah.
Wow. There we go. Not bad. 9 out of 10.
Well, sort of 9 out of 10.
Sort of 9 out of 10.
It's a bit rocky, but yeah, good stuff.
I'll give you on that one.
Thanks.
Some great songs in there, I think. I think James Bond's one of them ones over the years that's always produced some great little tracks.
It's part of the whole franchise to have a great song. One of my favourites was the Chris Cornell one for Casino Royale.
Yeah, it's a really great track. I'm actually quite a fan of the new one as well from Billie Eilish for the new film. I think it's really a great track.
I've only heard that once, so I'm going to have to give that a few more spins and get into it.
It impressed me because I'm not really a Billie Eilish fan, I would say, but it's not my kind of music.
Well, we're probably a little bit
job.
old, to be honest, to be into Billie Eilish. But I think she's cool. She's talented, and I've seen her on some stuff, and I thought, yes, this kid's got talent. So good luck to her with it. Hope it goes well.
Oh, there we go. That was the quiz of the week. Let us know your answer scores below in the comments, and we'll see what we have next week.
Okay, it's time for Shorts and Shout-Outs, the section of the show where we like to celebrate all things independent cinema and give our friends a shout-out and talk about people that are just up and coming and making interesting stuff. So this week I'd like to give a shout-out to a friend of ours that we both went to film school with called Glenn Gare. Glenn's a film director and writer and photographer and all-round polyglot talented individual. He made a graduation film for his master's called Yolin, which is the title character's name. And that's about a young waiter who's basically kidnaps an older woman in an attempt to force her husband into a confession of an affair. But it's kind of a quirky comedy that was shot in Wales and has Welsh actors in and stuff as well, obviously with the Welsh name Yolin being the title character. But this is a really funny, quirky comedy from Glenn. It's really beautifully shot. The actors all do a really great job in it. I mean, Jean-Luc Godard, I think it was, said all you need to make a movie is a girl and a gun. And this has both of those things, plus more. It's got mopeds in it and really beautiful vistas of the coastal landscape. It has also been doing the film circuit recently. I think it's just finished up its film festival run at the Birmingham Film Festival this weekend. So it's been getting some play. Obviously, it will be released at some point down the line online, so people will be able to see it. But he's had some good accolades for it, and it seems to have done really well. So if you wanted to catch up with Glenn, he's at Glenn Jamin Gare, which is on the screen now. You can catch up with him on Twitter, see what he's been up to recently. He's got photography projects on the go. He's also involved with something called CineTap, which are producing films. Obviously, there's been the interruption with the pandemic, but later on they're hoping to do some more stuff. They've got a film schedule called Rural Romance, which is a short animation to be released next year, and also a feature documentary, Skate in Tokyo. So they're things to look out for from Glenn. So yeah, just wanted to say, hey buddy, give you a shout out. And if you're on Twitter and stuff, hit him up and give him a follow and see what he's been up to.
Excellent stuff, yeah, of course. Great stuff from Glenn. Really look forward to see what he comes up with next, and I look forward to actually watching the short film when I get a chance, when it comes out.
Yeah, I got a chance to see it. He showed me a screener of it before it went out, and it's really good. Really well done.
Brilliant stuff. And, of course, we'd like to give a big shout-out to Skip Bolden, Liam Jackson, Tika Romeo, Rosemarie, Daniel Marley, college filmmakers, Alex Nagad, and everyone in the Film Twitter family. We really appreciate your feedback and interactions with us online. Get following these people if you love films. Feel free to get in touch with us on Twitter at moremovies4. Send us any shorts or interesting things you've been up to, and let's all enjoy cinema together. Okay, here's time for another movie rant, the part of the show where we kind of vent our frustrations on a particular film or movie topic or anything that we've got a bone to pick with. This week, we're talking about Tom Cruise. Tom
Toasty
Cruise. Now, this guy is
Toasty,
I think, and it's a shame because it's strange with Tom Cruise, I think, because if you look at the first kind of 10 to 15 years of his career, it's brilliant film after brilliant film after brilliant film, great performances all round. You look at the last 20 years of his career, it's pretty much filled with dog.
Toasty.
Terrible performances. He's got too involved with his films because he's always bloody executive producing and getting involved to force things to happen.
Control freak.
Yeah, total control freak. You know, you can see that with you know the people he dates and marries and stuff like that. You know, it's not normal. You know what I mean? And he just gets so involved in things because I want to do the stunts. I want to be involved in this. I want to do that. It's just an absolute ball ache by the seams of it to work with. The constant releases of these crappy Mission Impossible films. You know, it's just, what the hell are these? They are truly dreadful at this point. And at this point as well, you know, his whole involvement in Scientology, his kind of persona when he goes on chat shows and just loses the plot. It just is really, really weird. And these days, some people would say it's a confidence in him or, you know, or kind of arrogance. But I just think he comes across as a toasty. You know, he just, everything he does, you kind of think, you're just a aren't you, mate? You know, for all the things I can appreciate in his early career, where I go, okay, great performances, A Few Good Men, Risky Business and stuff like that, where you go, great stuff. For all those, you've got crap like War of the Worlds, you know, and Jack Reacher and the new Mission Impossibles, and it's like, man, that guy has gone on a downward slope over the last 30 years.
Well, yeah, I got to agree with you. I think, you know, the first 15, 20 years of his career, he just did some amazing work. He was absolutely fantastic in Born on the 4th of July. He played like a Vietnam veteran that comes back from the war, and he's been, I think he's been fragged by his own guys, you know, and shot in the back, and he's paraplegic in a wheelchair. So, and also I think his character had killed somebody else that was, you know, a friendly fire incident. He'd killed someone he knew, and he was traumatized by the whole experience, and particularly by that. And the acting that he does in that film, it's an Oliver Stone film, it's amazing acting. There's one scene where he goes to the family to confess that he's killed their son, and it's so heart-wrenching. It's such good acting. You can tell, you just really believe him. And at this point in his career, you know, it's the 80s and stuff, you're thinking this guy is on an upward trajectory. He's going to be one of the greatest ever actors we've ever enjoyed. Also great in stuff like Rain Man. And then a few years later, he's in Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson. He played a really crazy, meaty part in that. Something really different, very brave role, very challenging. Excellent stuff, but I couldn't agree with you more. What the... What's going on with this guy? It's like he wants to be a stuntman. He doesn't want to be an actor anymore. He wants to be a stuntman. I just seen this thing on Twitter yesterday. It was like a TikTok video of some people in Norway, and they're driving alongside on the road alongside a train, and there's all these people sitting on top of the train, and they recognize one of them's Tom Cruise, so they're obviously filming some new Mission Impossible piece of shit. But they managed the car just gets closer to the train track at one point, and they're filming, and they're like, it's Tom Cruise, and he's just like, hey, yeah, I'm sitting on a train. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He's got a death wish. He's jumping out of planes, he's hanging onto planes, but it's zero acting going on. You know, it's always the same character, you know, some guy who's just, you know, gonna kick your ass and beat the bad guys up, and that's it. It's all become about what kind of stunts he can do. I don't know whether it's a midlife crisis or what, but I think he just wants to be Jackie Chan or something these days.
Yeah, and it's weird that although, as you were saying, his early career has got the great performances, I think if you look at his contemporaries and peers, in the kind of A-list circuit, Dave kept up these great performances over the years and perhaps got better and more mature, and he just seems to...
digressed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like gone back into himself and taking the easy route almost.
Yeah, it is the
do
easy
another
route.
Mission Impossible, you know.
God. I was working with a guy last year, and he said, "Oh, have you seen Mission Impossible 7 or whatever, whichever one it was?" And I said, "Oh no, I haven't seen that yet." I said, "I've seen the first couple though. They're all the same." He goes, "What? You haven't seen it? It's the greatest movie ever made." And I thought, yeah,
okay,
buddy, okay. I mean, that's the thing. Some people love him as well. They're like, "Oh, Tom Cruise, he's amazing, he's brilliant, he's the best." But there is a camp like ourselves that we are firmly rested in that just think he's a weirdo. Like you said, all this Scientology, what the is all that about? Because as far as I can tell and what I can see from it, all they do is just take all the money from these stars, you know.
Yeah.
And build the church.
It's a cult, isn't it?
God knows.
Very odd.
We're going to get, targeted now for saying that, probably. So, if you don't hear from us next week, you know what happened. Tom Cruise and his bunch of cronies came after us, but yeah.
That's it. We've been taken out.
Start. I mean, to be fair to him, I thought that turn that he did in Tropic Thunder,
that was
where
good.
He played Les Grossman, and he was unrecognizable apart from the voice. It was like, is that Tom Cruise? And it goes to show the guy has got talent, acting talent. He's really good, but yeah, when he's going off on talk shows or he's busting somebody's balls on an interview or something, he's got this control. Sort of, I'm in control. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Dave. Dave, listen to me. I'm in control. It's that kind of whole thing, and you just think,
yeah,
get a life, buddy. He's going to fall out of one of these planes one day, and the bloody parachute won't open or something. I'm telling you, that's going to happen one day. It's going to be like Tom Cruise fell out of a plane today and is missing somewhere over the Nevada desert.
Yeah, it does seem like it'll only end in tears. Yeah, which it's very foolish, I think. But there we go.
We both feel better now. We've got it out of our system.
That's it.
Well, that looks like we're wrapped up for another show there, Dave. Thanks for having me. Been a lot of fun talking about movies.
That's it. Thanks for joining us again here on the Movie Show from the Cinema Plus podcast. It's been great chatting with you, Greg, about all these movie topics. Remember to leave your comments below, and remember to subscribe and press the bell icon for notifications. And we'll see you next time here on the Movie Show.